So Scott Vernon of the Sustainable Homestead Institute talked about the destruction and problem that these major storms have come and had. And this was like a 40-year-old tree, apple tree, crab apple tree, and it got broke down. So I came over here with my kid and we took care of it. I'm going to share exactly what we did and the value for it. I'm Justin Hitt from Prosperity Homestead. First off, in nature, when you lose a tree, there is just as much habitat with a fallen tree as there is a standing tree. Now, the difference is the type of habitat. So what we're doing is mimicking that by making the most of resources. So an apple tree grows really slow. It provides a good quality wood. Some of this wood will end up in a smoker, but in order for it to be used in a smoker, it needs to dry out. So what has happened here? Well, we're using an old frontier technique where if a fallen tree has gone down, we're going to cut it up into reasonably sized pieces. So you don't need to cut it into firewood, but what we did is we cut it into what's called straights. So the majority of this wood was cut in locations that provide us the straightest possible piece of wood. Then we stacked up what we could carry, and you can see the logs that are too big to carry, stacked up what we can carry to dry out. Now this creates a different kind of habitat, and there's still some sticks and stuff I need to take care of, but it creates a different type of habitat, which is beneficial insect and bird habitat. Now the tree provided those things in the beginning, but this is how we're going to dry out the tree pieces. And there's going to be pieces in here we can use as firewood and we can use to smoke some meats. And of course these larger logs can be taken out and they can either be stacked vertically or they can be taken and stacked someplace else. But essentially it picked up the tree and got it out of the way. Now what happened to all the brush in the top? Well, that brush, including these sticks, was put down here in a contour brush dam. Now, it wasn't thrown down the hill. It wasn't just thrown in the woods. It was actually layered out here in a brush dam. So you remember my past videos where we talked about brush dams and the value for habitat, small bird habitat, beneficial insect habitat, the overwintering of butterflies and different types of larval habitat, the benefit of this kind of brush dam to block animals from coming up through the woods. Now, this dam isn't very big, but if we had an orchard here or a gateway and entry to an orchard, we might have the brush dam acting as a deterrent for larger deer and animals. Now, when we need kindling or tinder, we come out here and get that. In some cases, you might pull the brush out after it's dry and turn it into biochar. But in this case, it's out of the way. It doesn't cause any problems. It's behind our growing areas because you can see these posts. This is the edge of the wooded area, and there are actually berries planted in there, but the tree gets turned into a beneficial resource, a different kind of habitat, and ultimately doesn't go to waste. If you have questions, visit www.prosperityhomestead.org, and there's a link in the description to the original video so you can see what a mess that tree was after the storm.